So welcome to another Chipmunkies video. Today we're going to be processing this part. One thing we don't want to do with it is 3D model it because it's just too complicated. So we're going to 3D scan this and show you how to go directly to 3D printing so you can make a duplicate part without all the work. So how are we going to go about taking this part and the right side and getting a 3D print from it? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're not going to use the scanning software. We're going to skip over this. We captured the point cloud here. Now we're going to take the 2 point clouds, put them into the mesh inspector. Then we're going to process our mesh here, fill in all the holes, getting them ready to be processed. And then we're going to move him down in the Fusion and model the sections that are missing. Once we do that, we can go directly to the 3D printer without having to model all of these features. We just opened the Mesh Inspector. What we're going to do now is import in both of our scan data files. Notice I just have two. I have a top and a bottom scan. That's all I did. I could have done a front and a back and a left and a right and had 6 scans and put them all together. What we did in the scanning software is we just aligned them, but we never turned them into a mesh because the Mesh Inspector gives us more tools for that. I'm going to go ahead and say OK. Notice I brought them in at the same time. Let's zoom up on this. Absolutely, he is just a point cloud. And he's 2 of them. That means I've got a top, I can turn him off, and a bottom. So that means there's going to be some overlapping data that we'll need to deal with. So the first thing we want to do is go to points. And then we can go to points to mesh. We could do Fusion, but that's more for like probably photogrammetry or a LiDAR scan. Blue laser is very dense mesh. So we'd want to go to points to mesh. Now, we get some options here. One, we do not want to fill the holes automatically. So I'm going to turn that off. 2, we get this nearest neighbor. This is where we start getting a little bit more control than our scanning software, because this is all about point confidence. Does it have 16 other neighbors? Does that one little gang member, the 17th gang member, have 16 compadres to validate him? Well, if let's say you were scanning a part and you didn't get the shaft of the hole, but you got the bottom, you still got enough data at the top where you can model that, but you don't want to get rid of it. So you can actually drop this down and say he only needs 8 compadres to really make a gang and be worthy of sticking around. So now we get to keep more of our data. So we're going to go ahead and say triangulate. Okay, so now what we have is still 2 individual meshes. We still have a bottom and a top. Now they're both meshes and not point clouds, but they're not combined yet. To do that, we'd need to go to Mesh Edit, and then we just say Combine. That's great. Now they have combined. But what they haven't done is solved all the major problems of how they are combined. It's just basically 2 meshes stuck together, and they still have all that overlapping data, some on top, some underneath, depending on how we scanned holes or whatever. So we need to clean that up. Next thing you would need to do is go to Mesh Repair. Auto Mesh Repair. I'm going to put it on Ultra. I'm going to make sure he doesn't try to close any holes. Just like before, if he does it, he's going to use some very primitive ways of fixing holes. And this is kind of an organic part or injection molded part. So we don't want really any of these. We don't even want to decimate him just yet. And then we're going to say Apply. Now he's going to start handling all that overlapping data, the tunnels, any other kind of trouble that this mesh has. So that when he's done and we go to fill in a hole, it's not confused thinking that it's an isolated mesh. So now we can go to Mesh Repair and Fill Holes. Now when we say Fill Single, it looks as these as a single hole and not as dual meshes, which is great. Now, what you can do is go through bridge, flat, find a hole, and then start, bridging this thing up where it makes some sense. We could use the stitch two holes together, but unfortunately on this one we did capture some data. So now we can bridge this, making it flat, and we can get really close to how that hole probably would have come out. Then we can just say fill single. You got flat, which we just used for bridging, which will make some weird shapes if it tries to fill in an organic shape. Basic, it's a little bit more faceted. Natural tries to smooth out not just the hole, but the area around it. So I really like natural. Smoothing, it will tend to force a tangency, a lot of curvature, and won't look great for a mechanical part like this. So I'm going to use natural, and instead of getting in there and starting to fix all of that, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and say I want to fix all of these holes naturally, because that's going to be the best way to go about it. Once we say natural, we're going to say fill all, and then I'm just going to hit fill all the holes. Now, unfortunately, if I filled them all flat, boom, we'd be done, because there's not a lot of computations being done. But because I said I want all the holes filled naturally, where it will kind of relax and fill in a hole and clean up the area around it, well, then we got some time that we're going to need to wait here. Okay, so all the holes are fixed and they're done in a very natural looking way. You can click OK and close on that. So those holes, you can see, try to follow the contour fixed inside of the physical holes there. So that looks a lot better than just kind of making a flat hole fix on that. Some of these I might have to drill out. That's not the end of the world. So the last thing we need to do before we kick this out to another software like a slicer or like Fusion is we're going to go to transform. We're going to make sure he aligns to the Triad. And there's a really cool tool that works great for mechanical parts that they've added here to the Mesh Inspector, 231 Align. So here is our plane. You can see here. And basically what it means is 1, 2, 3, or 3, 2, 1 is your Z, it gets 3 points to establish a plane. And then your second on your Y, it just needs to know like kind of a rotational alignment. And then your X, after it's been rotated and it's sitting on a plane, it can just be bumped into, bump into the Y-axis to get its X location. So really cool option here. I'm just going to click 1, 2, because they seem like they're kind of, and I can move him around a little bit. Doesn't make a lot of sense now, but it will here in a second. And then I'm going to put one on the furthest end over here. Click. Okay. So now he has rotated him around, put him in this Triad pretty close. And then I get this, you can see that line there. That doesn't look too bad. They look even on both sides. What I'm saying is I can take him and move him if I want. And I can move these guys both out to the corners here, or I can move them up into this corner, and you can see the part actually rotate a little to get even. Same thing over here. I can move him around until that plane kind of looks as flat as possible over all these sections. So that doesn't look terrible. It's not going to be perfect because this part is not perfect. It's got a curvature to it. So I hit accept for the Z. Now I need to bring him into Y. To do that, I'm just going to select these 2 points next to that break because I know I'm going to have to model around that broken section. And again, I can take him, kind of move him until he is kind of at the extremity there. And the same thing here, kind of move him around. And now he's kind of moved him until he's, both of those are straight. Now I need to say accept on that. And now we just need to slide the X back into that Y axis here. And to do that, I'm going to zoom up on what I think is the furthest most point. Click. I'll move him over here. That looks about right. Keep in mind, if I grabbed another point, I can always Control Z or, undo that while I'm still in this mode. Now, accept and apply. And now when I go to my top, he is my top, right? This is great. That's exactly what you need. Now we're ready to move into Fusion and do whatever other work we want to do to it. Now let's take another run at this, but this time we're going to use more of the automation tools that are inside the Mesh Inspector. Keep in mind, they're not a sponsor. It's just a new tool I'm using. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to bring both of them in again. This time, we want to go to Points, Mesh to Scans, and we do not want to... A couple of things we want to change here is Reduce Noise. Sure, Points to Mesh. We don't want Fill Holes on, and the nearest neighbor, we want to 8. Let's go ahead and hit Merge. So now this is merging the scans. It's also removing any duplicate or overlapping data there. Piece of cake, he did not fill these holes. The next thing we'd want to do is just go to Mesh Repair, do the healer. He's going to take a look at it. Yeah, we want to fill the holes. We want to flip the normals. We want to fix tunnels. Perfect. We can even go to advanced mode here, where we get options for how it handles each one of these. And for holes, I simply want to say smooth curvature, natural smooth. So that's going to get us that natural smooth. So in 2 operations, we were able to work through this entire mesh. So now we're going to say, go ahead. So that's quite a bit faster, but keep in mind, so we'll close this down. We started by doing points. We went from scans to mesh, and then we use the mesh healer, and that pretty much automated our entire process. The only thing that we needed to do after that is to do this 1, 2, 3 align thing. So it's good to go through and do the options normally and kind of get an idea of the results you get. But after that, paying for this software and getting some of those automation tools can really speed up your processes. I know it does for us here. Now we're going to take this model and move it over to Fusion, and we're going to handle that in the very next video. Okay, so that takes us to the end of this video. I hope you learned something that you might be able to incorporate into your workflow. When you're dealing with meshes, it can vary quite a bit depending on what kind of parts you're making. So next week, just a little tip on what we're going to get into is going to be importing in a mesh. Instead of reverse engineering the entire part, well, we're just going to model in those missing pieces. And then we're going to show you how to merge those in with that mesh data. So nothing ever goes into full-on modeling. We just model the missing pieces. We tessellate those, combine them with the mesh, remesh them, and then we get a really nice looking mesh that you can't even see where we're missing pieces. So look forward to that, and we'll catch you next time.